Alright, today we are going to learn how to solve multi-step inequalities. So inequalities are very similar to equations, except you need to flip the inequality sign whenever you divide or multiply by a negative, and always end with the x on the left side. That's to help you graph. So to remind you about multi-step equations, remember we always start with distributive. So if there are parentheses, you distribute. Then we combine any like terms on the same side. After that, we need to make sure that we have all our variables together, so collect variables. So add and subtract to get those together if you have more than one. And after that, you should just have a two-step equation, which you can do in your sleep. So here we go, examples of special inequality rules. In order to solve this problem right here, we have to divide by -2. Now, this is the part that we're talking about, when you divide by a negative. Or if you multiply by it, instead of saying x is greater than -5, we need to say x is less than -5. So again, it's right here when we divided by this -2. That switches everything around. Now if I was going to graph that one, it doesn't say 2 on this one, but if I was going to, then here's -5. On either side I've got -6 and -4. This one would be an open circle because there's no or equal to, and we want less than that, so we're going to go left. Our next one over here, it's a one step again. We've got to subtract this 1 to get x by itself, and we're ending with 3 is greater than or equal to x. But when I go to graph that one, we don't usually start with the x on this side that it is in. Instead, what we'd want to do is we'd want to switch this entire thing around. So x is less than or equal to 3. So I'd do a closed circle because of the or equal to, and it would now go to the left side. A lot of people use the little arrow trick, and that's why we're doing this. If it's pointing towards the left, we go this way. If it was pointing towards the right, like our greater than, it would go that way. So in order to use that trick, like most of us do, make sure your x is just starting in the right spot. So let's take it a step further. It's about how they ask this question. That's what I wrote right there. So which of the following is a solution to 6 minus x is less than 10? So most of us would probably start solving this problem right here. And we'd subtract 6, leave our -1x sitting there, less than 4, and then divide by -1. Here's where we're dividing by a negative, so x is really greater than -4. And we're looking for something greater than -4. That is not -5. That's not -16. It's not even -4 because it needs to be greater than -4. The actual only answer here is 3. So again, the bigger the negative, the smaller it actually is. So we're looking for something on the other side there of our number line. So if I graphed it, here's my -4. I was looking for something that was greater than it, but not equal to it. So I needed any of my positives, or -3, -2, or -1. So when you see one of these types of problems, what they really want you to do is not to solve it at all. This is a plug-in type question. So what they want you to do is this. 6 minus -4, that's plus, is 10 less than 10. And there we go, it's actually equal to it, so it can't be less than it. Is 6 minus a -16, so we get to double up there again, is 22 less than 10? No, it isn't. Then you go to C, so we're gone with those two. C is 6 minus 3 less than 10, and we get 3 is less than 10. There we go, there's the right answer. Just real quick though, before we move on, let's see it one more time. The -5, let's see how that looks. 6 minus a -5 less than 10. Nope, doubled up again, we got 11 is greater than 10. So when you solve these, I know when you get that, what did we get? X is greater than -4. I know you want to go with that -4 right away, but these are inequalities. They don't have just one answer. They actually have more than one answer. So make sure you listen to the inequality and pick something that makes sense with it. All right, next one. These are our multi-step ones, so now we're going to add in all the steps of our equations. So first thing, distribute if you see it. So 6 is really less than 3x minus 27. I'm going to add my 27 to the other side because this is a good old two-step equation. If you want to, you can put these little bars down to help everything stay even and so you don't lose that inequality symbol. So I've got 33 is less than 3x. So divide by our 3, and you got that 11 is less than x. But we don't usually like to say it that way. We would instead say this as x is greater than 11. So you read it from x. So x is greater than 11. So if you were going to graph this one again, you'd have an open circle at 11, and it would be greater than it. So our line trick, our arrow trick works there. All right, this one has a little bit of everything in it. So we do have distributive. So I've got my 5n minus 8 is less than or equal to 6n plus 10. I've got to now get rid of one of these two variables. I can't have two of them sitting there. So I'm going to subtract my lower amount to avoid some negatives here. So I've got negative 8 is less than or equal to 1n plus 10. Now I've got a good old two-step. So subtract my 10 and divide by that 1. So I've got negative 18 is less than or equal to 1n, which is the same as n. And I'm all done. But here we are again. I want to make sure I lead with the n. So n is greater than or equal to negative 18. It's about that sign facing the same thing. Like your n is greater, your alligator's eating the n, so the alligator still needs to eat the n when you switch it around. So if I was going to graph this one, I'd be here at negative 18. It'd be a closed circle, and it would actually be going towards the bigger numbers, towards the positives over here, rather than these negatives. So here it is again. It's about how they ask it. They said not a solution. So inequalities have many, many answers, and 3 of these are answers, and 1 of them is not. So you can solve it, or you can plug in. I'm going to solve it just to see what this looks like, because this is how I feel like most of us try to solve this one. So 2x minus 12 is greater than or equal to 8x. I've got too many variables, and I've got to subtract the 2x because I don't have anything over here left if I get rid of the 8. So I've got negative 12 is greater than or equal to 6x. Divide by my 6, and x is less than or equal to negative 2. See the way I said that? I started over here with my x, so that's how we switch it around again. So x is less than or equal to negative 2. Now it says which one is not a solution. Well, negative 2 is a solution this time because we've got the or equal to, so it's okay on this one. What else is less than negative 2? Well, any negative smaller than negative 2. Take a look at our number line. We've got negative 2 here, we've got negative 3 here. A little bit further down the line, we've got negative 5. On this side of it, we've got 0. So if I was going to graph this one, it'd be a closed circle because I have the or equals to, and it would go towards the less numbers. So I see all of these are answers, but 0 is not an answer because 0 is not less than or equal to negative 2. So the other way you would do this is the plug-in way, but G is definitely the answer there. The plug-in way is we would take each of these and we'd plug them in for both of these x's. So let's try one that works and one that doesn't work and see what that looks like. So 2, we plug in negative 3 for this x, and we'll plug in right here as well. So let me write the rest of that stuff there. So this is the one that's going to work, and the one that's not going to work, I'll do in red. We've got 2. I'm going to plug in 0 here and here now. So 0 minus 6 is greater than or equal to 8 times 0. So let's see what I get for each of them and how this works out if you want to do the plug-in method. So I get 2. I get negative 9 in here because it's negative 3 minus another 6. On this side, I've got negative 18. I'm bringing down my inequality symbol and doing the rest of the work over here. 18 and negative 3 make, when I multiply, negative 24. On this side over here, 0 minus 6 is negative 6. 2 times negative 6 is negative 12. Bring down my greater than or equal to, and 8 times 0 is 0. So remember, one of these worked, one of these didn't. Can you tell the difference? Is negative 18 greater than or equal to negative 24? And that's true. The smaller the negative, the bigger it is. Over here, I've got that a negative number is bigger than 0, and that's definitely not true. So that's why we knew that this one was a solution, therefore it's not the answer. And this one was not a solution, and therefore what we were looking for right there. All right, thank you for watching.